Eva here. Welcome back to the Inked Reader, and as you can tell, today I am doing a book haul. Let me move this so we can have a chat before I actually start showing you all the books that I acquired in summer 2019. I promise before I actually start, as I said, this is a really small channel and I used to share with you guys my other social media. Either I took them all off. The only social thing that I've actually kept on my channel is my Goodreads. This is a booktube channel, this is not a vlog channel, and I am really caring about my privacy and my family privacy because we had in the past few months gone through some hardship, and I realized that social media were taking away far more than what they were giving me back. So I made all private. Little I use them, it's just for people that I know in my real life as of now, or my dear friends. I don't want to sound rude in any way, but as I said, I'm here in the booktube community to share my love for books, to talk about nerdy stuff, to talk what we love reading, what we didn't love. Booktube in general is a really lovely and supportive community, and that's the type of community I want to be part of, and none of the others. I know that people go through hardship in their life. However, I strongly believe that if pain has made you mean, then you've wasted it. And the fact that some people, when they're miserable, use all the means they have, which nowadays are social media, to make you as miserable as they are, I think it's disgusting. And I got to a point in my life where I was feeling really miserable and I was really struggling with anxiety, and a lot of that was due to how other people through social media were spying and using it to hurt me. And I decided that I was having none of that anymore. I'm gonna just stick with the booktube community, and if you want to talk about books, as I said, nerdy stuff, I'm here for you guys. For all the other things, I'm not there, and all the comments that are not appropriate or they are not related to like my contents, they're gonna be ignored. I changed my mental state to a point where it's all about being healthy and being part of a supportive environment, a lovely environment, and I don't fucking ever again want to be part of other people's dramas, and I don't want to give disgusting, mean, sick people the means to get to me and affect me in any way. So I'm just going to ignore and pretend they do not exist from now on. So everybody can like look at your videos and then have access to your links and so on. I've decided to take them all away, and I'm just here for booktube and nothing more. As I said, this is not a vlog channel or anything else, and I'm not here to share my life. However, I do have a private life, I do have a family, and I want to keep things separate, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm just saying I want to keep things separately because I think that's the healthy way to do it. If you put yourself up there, then you have to be ready to take shit from other people, and I am not in the state of mind. I don't have time or care anymore about other people's shit. And I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit harsh. I just meant to say I want to be part of this community, this nerdy booktube community, and I want to share love and I want to share our passion together. But that's it. That's why I'm here, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew how I thought. And I believe honesty is important, and sometimes being too kind can backfire, and so I just want to be honest and saying I'm here for this reason and nothing else. So if you have any other reason to contact me or be here, then click the X there because I'm not gonna pay you any attention. Sorry. So let's talk about nice things, and that means let's talk about books that I've acquired. So I have a few unboxings to do, which one of those I'm really excited, but I will do them at the end because yeah, let's keep the tension going. So I will hold the one on top, the one in the box, and then I will do the unboxing at the end. So the first book I have here is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and this is a non-fiction, it's a memoir. I got this from a charity shop. This is the memoir of the author growing up in a dysfunctional family. I think this is going to be a hard read, but it's something that really interests me, and I've heard amazing things from other booktubers. Another charity shop finding was Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is a pen name for Shannon McGuire, who wrote Every Heart Doorway series. Urban fantasy takes place in modern days. However, it's about this crew that went missing 7 years ago after went in this place to film a mockumentary about these mythical sea creatures that was apparently killing off people, and then they disappeared. And so now a new crew has been sent off to find out what happened to them, and I think they will be really surprised to what's in there. I think this is about mermaid, and I heard it's bloody and it's graphic, really gruesome, scary mermaids. Never read something like that, so this felt like really up my alley. And lately I've been more into dark books and more like disturbing books. Hopefully these will fit into that category and I'll enjoy my time while reading it. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This is a book that I do not need to add to my TBR pile because I already read this from the library a few years ago. This is a urban fantasy. It's about vampires and it's about this girl that enters this city which is owned by vampires, if I'm not mistaken. Then the story starts from there. This was my first Holly Black. I really liked the writing and I thought it was like a new take, like a refreshing take on a classic vampire tale and story. And I overall really enjoyed this, and I always thought one day when I find it in a charity shop or whatever, I'm gonna pick it up. I found this in great conditions, so I couldn't pass it up. Then in the charity shop, I found this Vote for Caesar, How the Ancient Greeks and Romans Solved the Problems of Today by Peter Jones. And this is a non-fiction book where the author basically analyzes how Greeks and Romans dealt with a lot of issues that today we still have, of course differently, but the gist of it's the same. And he analyzed how they resolved that, and he analyzed how what they did could actually work in nowadays society with our issues. And it sounded like kind of really interesting. It's a short one, it's perfect conditions, and I'm honestly curious. I'm really fascinated by history and Greeks and Roman societies, especially, so hopefully this will make like an enlightening read. Then I found The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. Yes, sprayed edges. I love it. I am collecting books that have sprayed edges, and this is another book that I do not need to add to my TBR pile because I've already read this. Although I didn't love it as her I'll Give You the Sun, I still really like her the way she writes stories, and this is a contemporary where, if I remember correctly, there are two sisters, one dies and the other one who survives has to deal with the loss of her sister, and she's also getting into a relationship with her sister's boyfriend because they're both grieving, and it's all about loss and recovery from such a tragedy. And it was really well written. Probably a 3.5 star or something like that, and I couldn't pass it up because this book is blue and I need a blue book with spray pages, so yeah, I don't have any other justification really. Then another one I picked up, I'm not gonna lie, just for the pages and from a charity shop because it was in perfect condition, is The Bedlam Stacks by Natasha Pulley. And this is a kind of adventure book, historical book. Basically you have malaria that is killing a lot of people in India, and this man is sent to Peru, to this city called Bedlam, because apparently there is this tree whose bark yields the only known cure to malaria. So this man is sent there, and once he goes there, I think there are a lot of adventures and a lot of trouble probably, and also he meets this weird reverend or something. This didn't sound exactly like my genre. I don't usually read books like this. However, when I went to Goodreads, he had good reviews, and I definitely want to branch out to my usual genre because I might actually end up really loving this. And then we have these pages. So yeah, we will see when I get around to read this. Got a really small book, which is basically the humoristic short stories by Mark Twain. This is the Italian edition. Basically, I sent my mom to pick up 3 books for me. They gifted her these, so just a collection of short stories by Mark Twain. The actual book that I sent my mom to pick up was Storia del nuovo cognome, Storia di chi fugge e di chi resta, e Storia della bambina perduta by Elena Ferrante. You might have heard me talking about My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I absolutely love that book, so I sent my mom in Italy. She was coming to bring me the rest of the series. It's 4 books in total, so with this it will make 4. And I will try and put here the covers for the English version, but this is a continuation of a feminist saga, contemporary story, literary fiction, mouthful, and it's all about these 2 girls that were born in the same cities in Naples. They have very similar life, meaning that they come from the same environment, they have the same friends. However, their family life is really different, and they form this unlikely friendship, and you follow them throughout their life. So it's childhood, and then you get like young adulthood, and then you have adulthood, and then you have like the senior years, and you follow them throughout their life and their friendship and what happened to them. And I really loved how it was written, and I thought these two characters were so layered and such like a good introspection in their life. I absolutely loved the writing, I absolutely loved the stories, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of these and be done with the series. Another charity finding was Anxiety for Beginners by Eleanor Morgan. I bought this just because it was £1. However, this is like a study and a collection of like stories of people that suffered from severe anxiety and how they dealt with it. That's what I gathered from the synopsis. And as I in my life all of a sudden found myself suffering from severe anxiety, I could definitely use this book and read other people's experiences and see how other people go through it in everyday life. And I have The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Richard Flanagan. This is a really popular book. I think he won some prize, winner of a Man Booker Prize 2014. It's kind of oldish. This takes place during the Second World War. It's about the story of this surgeon who is working in Japan as a surgeon in the military camp or something like that, and he had an affair in the past with his uncle's wife, and then he went to war and he received this letter that will change his life. And I think this is going to be touching, hard to read, but I'm honestly really looking forward to this. I've heard amazing things, I've seen this book everywhere. There must be a reason for that, right? Okay, let's open this. Now let's try everything ever, please. Then I've got The Huntress, C, or it's C and The Huntress is like the same name of the series. I do not know. I have this by Sarah Driver, and I found this in a charity as well. And all I know about this one is about this girl that has been raising her little brother since their mother died, and she was destined to be the captain of this huntress, which I guess it's a ship or something like that. And then her brother goes missing, so she has to embark on this journey to find the brother, and I think troubles and so on. I think this might be on the young side, like young adult / really young adult, I'm not sure. I picked this up because I think it had good reviews on Goodreads, so I'm not sure, but it's in good conditions, and if I don't like it, I'm just gonna sell it again. Then another one that I've already read, The Last Continent by Terry Pratchett. This is part of my collection of the Discworld series. I'm reading one each month, and this was last month, I believe. This is book number 22 in the series. These are the lovely hardcover editions, and I absolutely find this book stunning. This book was not my favorite by any means. I think I gave it 3 stars, which is one of my lowest rated Discworld books, and it's part of a Rincewind series. I will link down below my review for the month, so you can go check it out if you want to hear my thoughts about this one. But yeah, I'm still collecting all of them, and it looks so amazing. I love the aesthetic of these books. And I've got Circe, I think you say Circe, by Madeleine Miller, and this is the author who wrote the Song of Achilles, which I did read a few years back on my Kindle. However, I do hate reading on the Kindle, so I was so happy that I found this in this edition for £1 in a charity shop. And I think this is a retelling of the myth, the Greek myth about Circe and how she became the evil sorceress in the story, I believe. I found the Song of Achilles that was really well written, and I did like it, but I didn't love it as much as many other people did. Other many people preferred this to that one, so hopefully I will love this more. Then I've got All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I've heard a lot of mixed things about this one, which is a kind of oldish contemporary story. It's about this guy who wants to take his own life. So he wants to commit suicide, and he meets this girl on a rooftop or something like that, and she has just lost her sister. So they are in really tough places in their life, and I think there is like a relationship forming, but the struggle will be for the girl not only to overcome the grief of her sister's death, but also how to deal with falling for a guy who is set on taking his own life. So I think I might see where this is going. So yeah, hopefully I will still love it. But yeah, I found this in a charity shop again, and I was curious to make up my own mind, because sometimes these kind of books I love and some other time I just find meh. However, it's just a genre that I usually like enough, and I want to make up my own mind about this book. Then I've got The Bone Shaker by Cherry Priest, and this is a kind of steampunk with some post-apocalyptic elements and sci-fi elements, if I'm not mistaken. And basically it's about Ezekiel. His father was tasked in the past to create this machine to mine Alaska's ice, but the things that he created ended up destroying Seattle. This machine released some fumes that turned all the people living in Seattle living dead, in zombies or something like that. And now Ezekiel is settled to go into Seattle and resolve the issue, but Seattle is overruled by zombies and like crime lords flying in the sky and pirates and stuff like that. And he goes in, and I think another girl comes in the picture because she has to go and rescue him from Seattle. It's a book that I have heard through something that will come probably next year, so I'm gonna probably wait to read this one until 2020. Either I'm really curious to see if I can love something like this. That sounds really different from what I'm used to read. Whether I'm really fascinated to see if I can love the genre, because if I do, then it's a whole new world that's opening up to me, so hopefully. Then we got another book in the Disco World series, which is Jingo. I already read this, loved this. This was 4.5 stars, and I think this is part of the City Guard sub-series, and this is book number 21, so this actually comes before The Last Continent. And again, I'm stunning books. I'm not gonna say the synopsis for these books because it's a really long series. This is book number 21. People tell you that you can read them out of order, which is true because each book is about a different story. Then the characters, though, you meet them again and again and again. And I would suggest that if you're new to Disco War series, and it's definitely a fantasy humoristic series that it's worth picking up and it's famous for a reason, I would say go in order because it will make a little bit more sense. It's not necessary, but it definitely make more sense. Then another book I picked up just because of these sprayed edges, but this is What I Loved by Siri Hustvedt. I think this was published around 2003. This is a contemporary with a little bit of maybe mystery thriller aspect to it. It's about these two men that have this friendship, and one is an artist, one is a critic, and you also follow the women and children in their life. And I'm not so sure about anything else. I did look at the reviews, which were quite good. As I said, this is a whole where I'm branching off a little bit of my usual genre, less fantasies, but I'm curious, and as I said, probably I'm gonna keep this book anyway, even if I hate it because of this. And yes, I'm shallow like that, I guess. When it comes down to book, I am. Then from Waterstone, I got A Skinful of Shadows by Frances Hardinge. I think she wrote The Lion Tree, which was quite famous a couple of years back. And why did I pick this up? Since I didn't love at all The Lion Tree. That's your answer. Have you ever seen like such green sprayed edges? I couldn't pass this up for the life of me. I just couldn't. This aesthetic of this book is, I believe this is about this girl that lives in this world where basically when people die, a lot of times they become ghosts and they possess other people, because a lot of people have empty spaces in them that the ghost can go and fill in. Which is an interesting point to make, because I do believe that a lot of people are quite empty. And if that was really the case, we would have a lot of ghost possessions too in our lives. So it's a premise that it's really fascinating to me, and we get our protagonist, who is called Makepeace. Her name is Makepeace. So she's been always really careful not to leave any empty room for the ghost, until one day she has to let her guard sleep and she gets possessed, and at the same time she's sent off to live with really unlikable relatives of her father, I think. And so now she has to deal with the possessions and with these awful people she's living with. And this is another book that, unless I really freaking hate it, I'm gonna keep it, even if I don't like it particularly. But I do like the idea, and hopefully I will love this more than The Lion Tree, which I didn't like the idea. I didn't like how it played out. Hopefully this is not the case with this. Now, do you see a trend in this haul? Yes, I picked up the same trip to Waterstone with Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman, and I believe it's a kind of paranormal urban fantasy book. It's about this girl that moves back to a city in rural New York. Her ancestors were founders, and she goes to this new school and she meets other 4 kids or something like that. They were all descendants of the founders of this city, and people treat them differently and they are kind of scared of them as they are scared of her. So she's new there, she doesn't understand why, but then she sees how these kids behave, what's going on, and dead bodies turn up in the woods. And so there might be a good reason for these people to be scared of these kids. I don't know. I guess I've heard this was a mix of like Stranger Things and something else I cannot think of right now. Again, another book that is gonna stay with me for this reason mainly. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I am kind of a fan of John Green. I didn't love all his books, but The Fault in Our Stars is one of my best books ever. It's in my list of favorite books. So I was curious about his brother writing. I think this is a contemporary story. I'm not sure about sci-fi elements in it, but I think it's mainly contemporary. It's about this girl that one night at 3 a.m. she encounters this statue that looks like a transformer, and she takes a video with it. She uploads the video on YouTube, and the next morning she wakes up and the video's gone viral, and people all over the world find these statues, and all of a sudden she has to deal with all the fame that comes from like being on YouTube and being on a viral video and social media and so on. As I mentioned at the beginning, as someone who kind of freaking hates social media as of now, I'm curious to see how he handled this topic, and I heard amazing things about this one. Then I got Blameless by Gail Carriger. This is a book number 3 in the Alexa Trabotti series, which is a urban fantasy historical series. And in the first book you follow Alexa. She is special because she's soulless, so she cannot be affected by paranormal creatures like vampire werewolves, which are the main creatures in this series so far. I've read the first 2 books. In the first book she also like get to know Lord Macon, who is a count and is the leader of the werewolves, and they kind of hate each other at the beginning. She's not really a huntress, she doesn't really hunts these creatures down. However, she gets involved because of this thing that she cannot be affected by their power. So when they touch her, basically they become human again. And yeah, book number 3, the second book left on a cliffhanger, so I was curious to see where this is going. This is the first time I will read this in English, so hopefully I will love it even more than the translation. I found this series funny and quick as a read. I don't love it or anything like that, but I think it's really nice, quick, and if you like the genre, it's probably something that you're already familiar with, or you might want to check it out. Then we got The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. It's a book written in verse, and it's all about slam poetry, which I never experienced before, so I don't know exactly what this even is. So I'm curious to see. I've heard amazing things about this book from everybody pretty much, and it's about this girl that express all her feelings through verses, and it's about like her first crush and living in her neighborhood and going to school, and just I think going about life and putting your feelings into words and using slam poetry. And hopefully I will love this. It's gonna be a really quick read, and I am positive I will love this. Either a lot of times I say that and then I freaking hate the book, but I cannot see myself hating this book, so let's all cross our fingers that I won't hate this. Then we've got Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill, kind of a dystopian novel. Dystopian in the meaning that girls are raised all their life to be perfect, because if they are perfect and they follow certain rules, they will be chosen as wives of wealthy, powerful men. And if not, if they go down the wrong path, or a path that society doesn't accept, they will end up being concubine, which is a terrible, terrible fate. And these two friends have been raised all their life to be perfect and marry wealthy men. However, one of the two all of a sudden has a kind of an identity crisis, and she starts behaving in a way that will endanger her future and the possibilities of actually be chosen as a wife. And the other friends has to choose, I believe, between being a friend or actually pursuing a goal of being perfect. But being perfect is not easy. And yeah, I'm curious about this. It's a premise that I really like, and I think this is gonna be really powerful potentially. And we'll talk about a lot of issues that society nowadays has, and I hope I will find this really interesting. Then I've got Pivot Point by Casey West. This a friend of mine sent to me because he got another copy by mistake. So this is an ex-library copy. Like, I will probably take this out soon and just like, because it's covered, which I do not appreciate. Although I do like the fact that, like, as this cover, I do not like that the title is covered like this. I don't think it's kind of nice. Anyway, I think this is a contemporary with a twist, meaning that it's about the life of this girl. And you know the movie Sliding Doors, where it's all the movie about this woman that if she takes the train, how their life would be, and if instead she loses her train that day, how life will turn out really differently. So it's the two possibilities. You follow both sides, both possibilities. And I think this is the same premise, the same idea about this girl. At one point in her life, we follow one direction and we follow what happened if instead she took another turn. Really fascinating premise. I heard this is a good one. Casey West's kind of well-known author around BookTube. So yeah, looking forward to this. And he got me a hardcover in perfect condition. So thank you, Kyle. And then the last one in the box is empty. We got Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. This is book number 2 in this series. I've read the first book a few months back, and this is a dystopian society where basically people have conquered death. They do not die of illness, they do not die of old age anymore. Governed and controlled basically by this AI system, and it's kind of like iCloud. So the only way they can handle the growing population is having scythe. Scythe are people that are tasked to kill off kind of randomly a certain amount of people each year. And they can choose who they want to kill. They can choose how they want to kill them. They just need to stick to the numbers that they are given. And I was surprised in the first book because I thought like they had a method for killing and so on. Instead it was like, they're assassins, like they are properly assassins, going and killing off people in millions of ways, but a lot of them are brutal. So I was surprised about that. It was a really fascinating premise. I love the beginning, kind of got lost in the middle, but I do like the premise. I was a bit hesitant buying this, but then I found for £1 in a charity shop. I said, you know what, I can pick it up and read it and see. Hopefully I can read these and love these enough to justify me buying the third book. Otherwise, I've got both in perfect condition so I can sell them. I was a little bit disappointed just because I didn't love the first book as much as other people did. It was probably a 3.5, 3 stars. However, we have a sequel. It might be its redemption. Let's go in this box. I already opened it because I couldn't wait. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. But I've got The Elephant. No, I've got The Fifth Elephant by Terry Pratchett, which I'm not sure what kind of number. I don't know. It's past the 23rd because it's the next one I have to read. And this is another stunning looking. I'm not so sure about the yellow and grey. Like, I never thought this was a combination that could work, but I do not mind this cover, although it's not my favorite in the series. Part of the City Guard sub-series. And yes, looking forward to reading this. Then in this box I got Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is the collector edition, so we have black pages and got the correspondent here, like the bright one, and this is a duology after the Grisha trilogy. I still have to read the third and final book before I can get to this duology. I know I'm behind, I know everything, I don't want to know anything about this duology because I don't want to get spoiled on the Grisha trilogy or whatever. So I've got this. It looks stunning. That's what matters, right? And then another series I suck because I'm not up to date with it. It's the Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff. This is Dark Dawn. This is the English version. I will buy the American one as well because I collect them both. I love the first book, which is about Mia Corvere. Mia Corvere, she is going to school for assassins because she wants to become an assassin and avenge the death of her family who were brutally murdered. These books are for adults. They are fantasy. Mia Corvere, she's awesome, but be aware that they are quite graphic. And also, I have to say, I did not mind at all the way it was written with the footnotes and so on. And I love the fact that we actually get to see a lot of the Assassin's School. So it takes place in the Assassin's School for the whole first book. I've not read the second one though, because they suck. Yeah, I suck. I know, I'm just a strict TBR and I like it, at the same time I don't. Does it make sense? But this is the third and final book in the trilogy. As I said, I'm collecting the American version as well, so it might be in the next store or something, because the cover, American cover for the third book, it's what made me actually buy all the covers, all the American covers, but I still love the UK ones as well. And then finally I've got these 4 books to unbox, actual unbox. This time I will start with this one, which is already open but still in. So this one is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I got these discounted on like a Prime Day or something, I don't remember, but I got the hardcover, which looks really, really nice. Although behind it's nothing special. I know this light's not the best, so apologies for that. But yeah, Sorcery of Thorns. So yeah, I'm sure you have heard about this book because it's been going around BookTube a lot in the past few months. This girl that works in this library where books have conscience. There are some kind of good books and there are kind of like dark books which are kind of mean and dangerous. And one day she gets into trouble for a reason that she has to travel to the city. I've heard amazing things. A lot of people put these in their favorite books of the year. Hopefully I can get around to this really soon, but I do love this stunning hardcover and it sounds right up my alley. So then I got this one. I'm trying not to show off my address. See, I know what this is. I know. I'm so happy. I'm so excited for this. This is a Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, probably butchering it. And it has black pages. Yes. I didn't know. Oh, I absolutely love the details. See? Oh, behind it is nothing, but I love it. I love that I got the hardcovers. These days I don't know why, usually I'm a fan of paperbacks, but these days I'm loving hardcovers. I had a Visa new release. I did mention it in my like most anticipated release for the second part of the year, which I'll link down below. This book is about a lesbian necromancer who has to go into this castle in space, and like I think there is like a competition going on or something like that. Sounds amazing. I will give you a better synopsis once I've read it. Sounds not only amazing, looks amazing, but from that video was the one that probably I was looking forward the most to read, and it's finally in my hands, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy to have this book and to have it in hardcover with the black sprayed edges. Yes. Second to last. Actually, yeah, I opened this again this morning. I needed something happy in my life, so I open it again. This is already let me take this out. So this is Miserere, an Autumn Tale by Theresa Frock. This is a dark fantasy from what I've gathered. One of those cases where the synopsis tells you too much and it spoils like half of the thing. So yay for me. Shit, why did I read it? Anyway, hopefully not, but I think so. But I will give you a brief synopsis. It's about this man who is in hell. He gets a chance to get out of hell, and instead of remaining in hell with his lover, he decided to escape and save his sister because she is also being tortured or something like that. So he escapes, but then turns out that the sister does not want his help and is actually trying to use him for her purposes. And I won't say anything else. Really twisted, weird tale, and hopefully I love it. I do like the cover, to be honest. I think it's really weird, and I am, as I said, fascinated by more darker books these days. A dark twisted fantasy, it's something that I definitely want to read. And last but not least, a really exciting packages arrived today. Our author sent me an email. It was really kind, saying I would like for you to read my book and provide an honest review. So I said of course, and he was so kind to send me a physical copy instead of an ebook copy, which I hate. And he agreed that, yeah, ebooks copies are not the best. So he sent me this package, and I'm gonna open it now. Of course, not showing my address. Let's see. Some paper for protection. And this is book 1 of the Caledon Saga by J.P. Harker. So the author J.P. Harker was so kind to send this to me. He said this is an adult fantasy, so be aware of that. It's not for young adults or anything like that. It's a really chunky book, he told me. It's a really big book, and it's the first one in a series. It's about Yenwin. She's about to marry this guy who is in love with, and she's not so sure though that marrying this guy and becoming a mother and starting a family is the right choice for her. However, she loves this guy enough to consider it because she was a warrior. However, this conquering force starts coming closer to their lands, and all of a sudden she has to deal with her being this warrior and not being able to like stay out of a fight. And I think like rival tribes and all suitors, and there is also dangerous general called Lepidus that will come into play. So it sounds really a complex story, a fantasy that combines a lot of elements, war and love and probably enemies and combats and so on. I'm really looking forward to this. It was so kind that he wrote a note inside and signed it for me. This is absolutely lovely. Thank you so much to the author for sending this my way. I will make this a priority as I promised, and I will give you a whole review, guys. I can then, if I love this one, read the next ones in the series. And this was it for this haul. If you're new, I would love you to subscribe, so hit button down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, night, depending where you are. Let me know in the comments down below which books you are more looking forward for me to read, or which books you would like to have a whole review. I will make sure to make a review of that. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching again. Ciao!